Assalamu alaikum friends. I hope you all are well and enjoying your life. Today we are going to talk about pragmatics and the title is An Introduction to Pragmatics. This is the lecture number 1 presented by Language and Linguistics. In this lecture we are going to talk about all important concepts related to pragmatics. So let's move to our first slide. In pragmatics, we are going to talk about its definition and its relationship with the semantics. Third one is pragmatics versus syntax. Fourth one is context, deixis, reference and interference, presupposition, speech acts, politeness, and cooperative principle. These are all important concepts related to pragmatics, but they can't be in just one lecture, so it will be divided into few lectures to talk about all these concepts in detail. Pragmatics is the study of speakers' meanings. It means that whatever speakers say something, it is included in the category of pragmatics, or you can say all verbal and non-verbal communication is the part of pragmatics. Not just words or the lexical items are included in pragmatics. Second one is the study of contextual meaning. Study of contextual meaning communicated by a speaker or writer and interpreted by a listener or reader. Here we have two actors. First one is speaker and second one is reader or listener. So their understanding and their purpose of communicating by making few forms of words into sentences is included in pragmatics. But the important element is context. Contextual interpretation is the main part of communication in pragmatics. Third one is it is the study of relations of science to the interpreters according to Charles Morris. And the fourth and last one is study of relations between linguistic forms and its users. Or you can say the study of words, phrases according to their meanings and their meanings interpreted or used by the speaker and inferred by the listeners. Only pragmatics allows human into the analysis, their assumptions, purposes, goals and actions they perform while speaking. This definition is given by George Yule. Pragmatics has two important areas. First one is the study of speaker's meaning and second is the study of invisible meanings. In study of speaker's meanings, we talk about the utterances and their contextual information, rather the words or phrases meanings based on dictionaries. So, what do people mean by their utterance? Rather, what the word or phrase means literally are the important area of speaker meanings. Second one is the study of invisible meanings. Those meanings are interpretation that you cannot comprehend just reading at the surface level. You have to learn or comprehend something in depth for learning about these meanings. Those are called invisible in pragmatics. So, a great deal of what is unsaid is recognized as part of what is communicated, or study of invisible meanings. Study of how more gets communicated than said. And finally, how to recognize what is meant even when it isn't actually said or written. These all phrases have, or the sentences have same meanings, and that is the speaker, words and phrases depends on context, and the listener or reader have to keep in mind the contextual information and contextual background. to comprehend or to learn something in detail, rather just looking at the combination of few words into phrases or to looking at few sentences. So context is the base of understanding these invisible meanings in pragmatics. For learning about pragmatics in detail, it is important to distinguish this discipline from other discipline of linguistics. So we are going to talk about the relationship or the difference and similarities between semantics and pragmatics. Semantics is the study of meanings of words, phrases, clauses, and sentences. But pragmatics is the study of meanings of words with concern to their context. Here, in semantics, we just based our understanding on the dictionary or literal meaning. But in pragmatics, we have to keep in our mind the context or the contextual information in pragmatics, as well as looking at the combination of sentences. Second one is the literal and dictionary based meanings are discussed in semantics, but in pragmatics, contextual and interpretive meanings are important. Third one is the internal study of language. Semantic is internal study of language, but pragmatics is the external study of language. It is external because it is based on the context or the environment where something is said by the speaker. And the second last is the study of signs and symbols. Semantic just talk about signs and symbols and the concept, but pragmatics is the study of contextual and interpretation. Interpretation are done by the listener or reader, but context is important to know about any utterance. And finally, semantics is the study of literal meanings. However, pragmatics is the study of speakers' meanings. Let's talk about the relationship of pragmatics with the syntax. Syntax is the study of relations of forms, their sequence, and arrangement. However, pragmatics is the study of linguistic forms and their users. It means here in pragmatics we have to keep in our mind speakers, listeners, and their interpretation depending on their shared knowledge and as well as the words and phrases meanings. But in syntax, we just have to look into the structure of sentences. Second one is that syntax is the study about forms. However, pragmatics is the study of using these forms. And the third one is the structure of language. Syntax is just the structure of language, but pragmatics talks about meaning of intrinsic and extrinsic and communication by keeping in view context. So all meanings depends on context and contextual information, as well as the dictionary based meanings are important to keep in mind for learning something in detail in pragmatics. For example, you can say that syntax is just structure as the traffic lights. First, red, second is yellow, and third one is green. This is just structure. But pragmatics tells us what red, yellow, and green lights are meaning here in the context, and the context is road. So red means stop, and the yellow means just slow down, And green light means go. Now you can move on the roads. Let's summarize the lecture before ending it. Pragmatics is the study of speakers' meanings, and these meanings are context based and contextual based. Information is important to learn and know something according to pragmatics. Secondly, linguistic forms and their function based on the context and immediate environment are studied under the heading of pragmatics. Similarly, study of speakers and invisible meanings are also important part of pragmatics. And syntax is just structure of language. However, semantics based on literal and dictionary based meanings of the language, but pragmatics is the combination of all the two discipline because it not only just keep in view the literal and dictionary based meaning but also the meanings based on the context and inferred or understood by the reader and the listeners depending on his or her presupposition or shared knowledge. So, pragmatics is just the study of contextual meanings or the context. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe Language and Linguistics to know about more videos on language and linguistics as well as other lectures on pragmatics.